When I was younger, I was kind of like always that kid that was like in middle school and high school. Like I would try to convince my teachers if I had a paper that was due, I would be like, so I know you want a paper, but what I'm actually gonna do is make a music video, and what do you think about that? And then a lot of times they'd be like, I guess that's like a weird sell, but like, yeah, let's do it. So I would like make these videos, and then I would kind of like, I realized that it was something that just like, it put me in the best mood. Like being out on a set or, you know, like shooting things with my friends was like, I could feel that there was something inside of me that was like, this is my happy place. You know, like anytime I could like have a camera, it was cool. I didn't really grow up though with a lot of money. So my parents are like from the country and they didn't get to go to school. So I didn't have the money to actually buy a camera, so I would like borrow cameras from people, and like one of my friends like got one for Christmas, and this was like, you know, when I was younger, like cell phones were like not the same, and they weren't actually really a thing, so so you didn't just like have one that you could like pull out. So it was a big deal to be able to like shoot these things. And so for me, like at that time, it was just, you know, it was like any opportunity that I got, I would do it, but it was like kind of rare. And I remember thinking like, man, if I could do anything with my life, like I just want to do this all the time. So I started doing it just like for fun. I would take pictures and like hang out with my friends, and I would always like convince my friends to like do stupid videos, which now I think would be the equivalent of like TikTok videos, but like then it was just like us doing stupid stuff. So I would just, you know, like make all these things and they would just kind of like go nowhere, but I was like, maybe someday I can like do this and get paid for it. Like that would be the dream life. So I remember having this conversation with my parents when I was in high school, and my parents were like, that's not a real job. Like nobody actually does that. Like they just thought it was ridiculous. Like they were like, unless it's a job where you're clocking in, you're getting a paycheck at the end of the week, you're clocking out and you're doing your thing, you're working hard, like that's a real job. This thing that you are talking about is like, it's just, they were like, that's not real. It's never gonna happen. So I remember being like, yeah, I was like pretty defeated by that. And I was like, you know, that's a pretty common thing with a lot of people with like the idea of film school, right? Like your parents are like, film school is like kind of crazy, you know? I had this moment like after high school, and my parents didn't go to college and they didn't have like the opportunity to really send me to college. So I remember I just like got a job and I just started working, doing all this stuff. And I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna like go to college. I want to get a good job. I'm gonna just like forget about this film stuff and just like move on with my life. So I went to college. I got a 4-year degree. And yeah, it was cool. I got a job. I moved to New York City, which was a lot for like someone who like didn't come from that kind of life, you know, like I worked really hard. I tried to get good grades and do what I could. I did it all on my own. I had to sign up for classes by myself, figure out like what even college was. So I moved to New York City and I worked for a nonprofit there that was on Wall Street, and I worked there for a while and I did media stuff for them. I remember thinking like, you know, this job is great. Like in theory, this is really good, but like the only things I like about this job are the parts that are related to filming things. And everything else was like so boring to me. Like it was like I would sit all day on my desk and I'd like do my little emails, and then like I'd like go to lunch, and then I'd like come back and sit at my desk and like do some more emails. And I just was like, oh, this really sucks. So after that happened, I found out that my partner got a job in Pittsburgh. And so I was like, all right, well, I guess I'm like moving to Pittsburgh. I didn't know anything about it. And so it was this big transition in my life. And I thought, you know what better time for me to just like take a chance, jump into the deep end and try something ridiculous than like right now. You know, like sometimes you have this opportunity that's like right in front of you and you're like, I can either like take the opportunity or I can just keep doing what I'm doing. And I was like, no, I'm gonna like take a chance. I'm gonna try to do film as like a real thing. I want to get to know it. I want to like stick my hands into the bags and like learn how to put a camera together, how to do lights, how to do all this kind of stuff. So I did. So I came here. I took some classes actually at CCAC. They had like just a few film classes at that time. And I learned how to do some gear, and I just worked really hard on it. I like practiced a lot at home, and then I got a fellowship actually here at WQED. And I don't know if you guys are like familiar with what a fellowship is, but it's basically a paid internship. You don't get paid a lot, but you do get paid. So once I started here, things just really started to go. And I was like, all right, this is a moment. I can feel it. I can feel things are like starting to move. And I wanted to make sure that I like really took advantage of all the opportunities that came my way. So I just, for like several years after that, I just took every job that came my way. So someone would be like, hey, I need you to help out on this project, and you're gonna get paid $10, and it's gonna be like 3 days. And I'd be like, yeah, I guess, yeah, that's fine. It was tough. Like, it was really, it's hard, you know, because sometimes you do have to kind of like put in a favor. But I kept doing that. And then my fellowship ended, and eventually I got hired here at QED. I started as an assistant editor, which Pat is an assistant editor, and that was like a great entry-level position. So you prep everything for the big edits. You know, like you have a senior editor that like sits down in the chair, and when they sit down in like broadcast world and movies and that kind of stuff, it's pretty much like that project's already laid out for them, and they come in and they like make it pretty, they add stuff on top, they add music, you layer things. They kind of do like all the fine-tuning of the edit, but that basic structure is already kind of like laid out. So that was what I first learned how to do. I did that for a little while. I met some people in the industry, and things started to get busier, and then I would assist camera outside of QED. I started doing a lot of freelance. Then I became a camera operator. So I started working on a lot of like the national programs that come through QED. And I would assist and edit for those. I would assist in camera. I just camera operated for one recently. And then I also freelance for the Discovery Channel. So I'm a camera operator for a television show that's on the Discovery Channel. Been doing that for a few years now. It's pretty cool. The cameras have changed. They're not really like small ones anymore. Like the cameras keep growing, they keep getting bigger, and then you have like all this crazy stuff rigged up to it, and like, you know, it's a lot to learn. Like you just keep stepping into things, and it gets busier and busier. But as you continue to grow and as you continue to learn, it's like it opens up your mind to like what the next possibility is. So as I have continued throughout my career to get deeper into things, I've realized more about what I like and what I don't like. So one of the things is like why I wanted to ask you guys like what you're interested in, like what your ideal job is, because like a lot of times that can shift and change. It's all about you being open to it. So when I started my career in this, I loved editing. It was so awesome to me. It was really fun. And it was like one of my favorite things was to be like at the computer and like cut all this stuff together. And I thought that it was like so cool. And I was like, I'm gonna be an editor forever and ever. Then that like kind of changed at some point. And I realized like, actually what I wanna do is I wanna play with cameras. So then like now I'm a camera operator, and so that's great because it's like I took a lot of skills that I learned during that time, and now I have like a slightly different job where now I deal with cameras more than I do the edits and that kind of stuff. So you can kind of grow and change, and you know, there's a lot of different things that you can do, and being adaptable is a huge part of that, because you know, sometimes like you might get hired for a job doing audio, and maybe audio is not like your favorite thing ever, but like every opportunity that you get to work on a film set gets you that much closer to the job that you do want to do. Like I worked so many jobs as a PA when I was first getting started, and those are really hard jobs. Like people are not super nice to you, you don't make a lot of money, and you work really long days, and that's for real. Like it really is like that. But I can't tell you how many people hired me for a different job or a bigger job or a better paying job after I PA'd for them and I did something that they liked. So the Discovery Channel, how I got into that was like a person who used to work here at QED years ago, and he and I had worked together on a couple projects, and he was like, hey, I like that you work hard, you're always on it, you know, you stand by, you're always like ready anytime I need something. And he was like, that's super helpful for me. So like I wanted to see if you wanted to freelance with me and do some jobs. So then I started like assisting him on things, and then it was like one thing led to another, and he ended up like, you know, getting hired for the show. He's the director of photography for the show. he was like, hey, actually I need like a second camera for this. It's a 2-camera show. We travel all over the world. Do you want to do this with me? And it was like a moment where, like, you know, you see that direct line. You put in your time, you paid all your dues, you know, worked with people, you worked hard, you showed them that you cared about it, that you were passionate, and then that like comes back to you at some point. And sometimes it doesn't come back to you the way you want, or sometimes it doesn't come back to you for like a billion years and you're like, oh my God, why is it taking forever? But it did eventually come back, and I could see that some of that hard work had paid off. And like I said, for someone who, like, I didn't really have those opportunities to like go to school, and I didn't have parents that could pay for that, and I didn't have anyone that was really like telling me that I should go into the film industry. It was like, had to be all on my own, and I had to work, you know, there were times like I worked 2 or 3 jobs just to like be able to make films on the side. It was hard. It was really hard, but also now, like, you know, there's so much stuff that I've experienced in the last few years of my life that have been just like crazy, like stuff that I never thought that I would get to do, like filming next to a racetrack in Germany. And we were shooting these cars that were like getting tested for like tire rotations, all that stuff. So they had like ice tracks that were like laid out, and these like cars would come out, and then they would be like, oh, we're going to test this Porsche. And I'd be like, I don't even know like what we're doing. They'd be like, just put your camera here. It's gonna look cool no matter what. And I'd be like, all right, sure. So then you put it down, and then you have this car like blazing past you, and you get to like be there in that moment, like in these testing labs. Or I'm working on a project right now. It's a national PBS documentary about reparations. And one of the things that we got to do was we went to an event in Louisiana where we were at a cemetery where there was like this whole community of enslaved people that were buried there. And it was really emotional. It was like one of the hardest things to be there as like a camera crew, because one, you want to be respectful of people, you know, you want to like respect that their like family is there, but also, you know that the story is really important, and there's a reason why you're telling that story. And they had people who were slave owners that came to this event, who were talking to people who had, you know, like enslaved family members that were like right there, and they had this discussion, and it was like maybe the most intense thing I've like ever seen. You know, like when you hear about like Republicans and Democrats like fighting, is like that times a million, you know, like you're talking about people who like have really contentious pasts and like trying to have these conversations. And as a documentarian, you're there and you have to try to like, you know, just be in the moment and like, you know, try to pull the story out of people, because you know that it's important to tell. The story is important to get out. People need to know these kinds of things. So you get to have these opportunities that like I could never, like teenager me, when I was like your guys' age, could never have imagined that I would be in that situation. It sounds ridiculous to like think about it sometimes, but it's not actually. Like those things really do happen. Like I wanted to move to New York City. I moved to New York City. I did a thing that I wanted to do. It was hard, but I did it. I got jobs doing things that I wanted to do. I told stories that I wanted to tell, and you know, you just keep going with it, and you have to be, you know, willing to kind of make changes and do different things and learn new skills. But I really believe, like, more than anything, that if you are willing to not just work hard as in like bust it all day just to like do things and sweat, like not just like that, but to like work hard for people that are gonna like invest in you on the return, that's super important. If you see that someone is like giving you like an ounce of interest, if you show them that like you are passionate and you know, you convey that to them, you make sure that you like leave a good impression. In the end, you know, if you come to that person, you're like, hey, this was so great. Thank you so much for having me. If you ever need anybody else, like, just let me know, you know? Like, I can't tell you how many times people then do really come back, you know? Like, I worked on a Netflix show, like, I think 5 years ago, I was a PA for a show that was filming here. And yeah, one thing like led to another on the set, and like they didn't like the guy who was ACing that day, which an AC is a camera assistant, but they didn't like the guy, and so they kind of like cut him. Like they were like, this guy kind of sucks, and he was late. He was like he was not good. So because I had been there and like worked really hard and whatever, they knew I didn't know anything, but they were like, we see that you like this. Like, do you want to actually like step into this guy's role for the day? Just like, we'll teach you whatever you need to know. And I was like, yeah, of course, totally, yeah. So I got that opportunity. And then when they went back to LA and they left, I was like, hey, if you guys like ever need anything, just let me know. And yeah, like 3 years later, I got a call from the camera operator for that show, and he was like, hey, I'm coming to Pittsburgh to film something, and I wanted to call you, and I know you're probably not like a PA anymore, but do you want to work with me? And I was like, yeah, totally. So it does really work that way. Like the industry is definitely like, if I work with someone and I feel like they're really doing a good job and that they care about something, and you're like, yeah, man, I love audio. I'm PAing today, but like I love audio. It's just like the best. Then I'm gonna remember that, and then like in 2 years when I need someone to do audio, I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, that person. Pat is a great example, actually, is like someone who I met, and Pat was like, I really like to edit. And I was like, that's cool. I'm so glad that you like to edit. And I like put it in my brain, and then I like went off and did my thing. So a few months ago, I was working on that show for the Discovery Channel, and I was editing one of the episodes, and I was just super busy, and we were leaving for like a 2-week-long trip, and it was an international trip, and I was gonna be gone for like 2 entire weeks, and there's a deadline with the network, and broadcast is very like structured, and like you can't play with deadlines. And I was like, there's absolutely no way I can get this edit done. I'm gonna call up my buddy Pat, who is an editor, and I'm gonna just see if he can do this for me. And then Pat got in on that job. He did an amazing job with the edit. And then sure enough, we called Pat another time when we needed another person to edit. So it snowballs. So you guys can do whatever you wanna do, for real. I know it sounds crazy, it sounds really corny, but you really can do it. So with that, I think we should try some stuff, and I'll show you guys what I like to do, which is to play with lights and to play with cameras. Okay, awesome. Pat, can you kill the lights?
Yeah. Striking, maybe?
Question mark?
Question mark striking?
Is it striking? Is it not?
Oh, sorry. Oh,
Okay, awesome. So we're gonna do a little bit of a test here. Let's pretend right now that we're doing a documentary about, what are we doing a documentary about?
Fish.
Fish. We're doing a documentary about fish. You love fish so much. You are actually like the fish representative for the United States. So this is Ambassador
Bass.
Ambassador
Bass.
Ambassador, yeah. Great. Okay, awesome. So we're gonna interview you about how much you love fish. So, how do we want to light this? What's the mood of this documentary? Dramatic. It is very dramatic. You're right. It's really serious. First thing that I like to do is I like to start with my key light, because you can decide whether or not you made a bad decision about where you put your interviewer or where your interview subject. So, because you like put your light up and then you're like, oh, actually that's really ugly and I should not shoot it like that. We want her eyes right now. Are you sitting nice and comfortable?
yeah.
What I like to do sometimes for interviews, I like to go a little bit lower. It gives you a little bit of a different vibe because you're feeling the room, you're kind of doing that. Another good rule is to start with the camera at the eye level of the person who is seated or standing. So, let's say this is the framing that you love. It's the best. Let's lock it down. So lock your tripod up. Right there, yup. Okay, so we're gonna talk a little bit about light. What we want is a properly exposed image that's not using these lights, okay? And we want it to be pretty because this is an interview. So, we want dramatic lights. So here's one thing. We have the light coming down. You guys see across her forehead here how we're getting like a little bit of a shine? That's because that light is coming down and hitting right across her forehead here. So let's do a couple of tests with this. So let's raise this light and see what happens. Do we like that more or do we like that less?
I like
I feel like less.
I like it less. I like it when it's lower. Yeah.
Okay, so let's lower it. Tell me when.
A little lower. like this. I think that's okay.
Right there. That's where you guys like it.
Have the blue flashing.
Okay, you want to do blue?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
I like the blue flashing. Like
Okay.
maybe like the lower part of her, so it's like her face is like, or would that be too much?
Well, so here's the one thing. I will say this placement is actually, it's really nice. And here, I'll tell you why. Now look at her cheek. Do you see how her cheek has like a little splash of light across it? It's a little intense. We want that to be softened, but that's actually really pretty. It's a really nice look. It gives someone, you know, it puts like emphasis on like your cheekbones, puts emphasis like on this nice side part of your face. It's a really pretty light. So we'll start there. Okay. Let's say we do want blue in it, okay? The thing about the flashing lights, which I will say is like something to keep in mind. Like anytime you go somewhere and there's a light that's like doing something, it becomes an editing issue. And the reason is because when you're cutting, there's like sometimes you have to like, someone will be talking, they'll be like, oh yeah, I went to the grocery store, and I bought fish. And then you're like, oh God, now that pause is so awkward. Now I have to like get rid of that. So you cut that out, and then you have this flashing light in the background. Let's say that right at that moment when you make that first cut.
It gets like inconsistent.
Exactly, yeah. So you might have the light on in this frame, and then you go to your next thing and the light has changed and it's shifted. And that becomes a real problem, especially when we're talking about like, you know, a light that's, like doing something weird, like it has like a weird strobing pattern, or it hits their face in a funny way, or if there's like a window in the room and a big cloud comes in and changes it, and like that can shift that light. So it's like one of the things to do is to try to make your light like as consistent as possible so that it gives you options for your edit. Let's do blue as a backlight. So do you guys want to take that?
Striking.
Oh, it's already purple. We're almost there. Okay, so if you want to take that, and let's come back here. I will show you guys kind of generally like what I like to do with hair lights. So as you're walking, one of the things that you do on set is you say points. So you're like coming around, you say points, points, points. Yep. So that just tells people that you're coming around with like a stand. It can be really helpful because sometimes someone doesn't say it and then you run into the points. Okay, so this is cool, right? So we have like something behind her.
It's in the shot, so you should.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's in the shot. Oh, great, perfect. I'm so glad you said that. This has a boom arm on it. So how can we utilize that to get the light exactly where we need it to go, but not have the stand in the shot? We could boom it. Let's do some witchcraft here. Okay, so this stand, what I was telling them, that one of the reasons why I like this stand is because it comes out on a boom. So we can bring this up, and then this is the one that does this joint here. Okay. And we're gonna go like this. So I'm gonna put it out over this leg. And righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, you'd think I'd know that by now. So I'm gonna put this over the leg. So are you guys familiar with that at all? Like when you put up a light, like why you might position it this way? Let's say that I put the light right here in between these two legs. I'm just gonna like be able to tip it like that. So if I put the arm over this leg, it's a little bit harder to tip. So that's just a good starting place. Anytime you have a boom arm out though, you definitely need sandbags. So let's throw some sandbags down. Okay, so now I need your guys' opinion.
You go to the left a little bit.
Yeah, we can walk it that way. So you want to pick up the stand? Walk it, tell us when.
That's good, that's good.
Right there? All right, we're going to put the light up, okay? Ready? So,
We can see the arm. Yeah, we can see the arm.
all right. Can we go like this? Oh. Oh. Oh.
So you put down the stick. No, she has a stick above her head.
Oh, do we need to go up higher?
Yeah.
Oh, this stand's broken. Oh no. Okay, what are we gonna do? I need some problem solvers. You wanna help? So the stand won't go up anymore. It should go up another level. Oh, look at this. What we would call this is Hollywooding. When someone holds something, it's called the Hollywood something. Unfortunately, I've had a lot of jobs where I've had to Hollywood stuff, and like by the end of the interview, you're like, you know, your arms are like shaking, and you're like dripping sweat. That's perfect. All right, so I'll have you Hollywood that. But you can wait, you can relax for a second. Let's bring this over here. Come on, come on, come on. I'm sure you guys have seen one of these, or if you haven't, we're about to do some magic.
I don't really know how to use this.
Just like shake it out. You just like, yeah, oh, beautiful. Yeah, that was great. This way is gonna reflect light. This way is gonna absorb light. And then we have all kinds of things on the inside. So let's try it first. All right, ready? As you guys can see, and if the people behind the camera will notice, we have a serious shadow happening.
Yeah.
This whole side of her face, crazy shadow, right? Like really, really dark. I will say that is very dramatic. Sometimes I do light interviews where I'll seriously put up like a single light on the side of someone's face and just leave it like full shadow on the other side. This is maybe like a little intense. Yeah, it's a little ominous, right? Yeah, it's like kind of creepy. So we don't want you to look creepy, we want it to look beautiful. So you can come over here and we're gonna audition this. Auditioning something is like when you're like, you know, you're the DP and you're like standing there and you're like, oh, can you audition this bounce for me? I'm not sure if I want it. So someone's gonna hold it up and you're just gonna see how you feel about it. So right now, is that light really hitting the face?
No.
So let's find where that light's gonna hit. So let's kind of move it around. Oh, now you're getting that one.
There.
That's kind of cool. That's actually kind of a happy accident, right?
Like half and half.
Yeah, so we're getting like different color. Okay, so now try coming over here. So let's take, yeah, and you maybe take one step this way. Yep, perfect, perfect. Okay, now you come over here. Try to hit this one. Try to see if you can get that one to reflect. So watch on her face. Up, up. Come back the other way. Come back the other way. This way, yeah, you saw it. I saw it. Saw it. Up, up. You can kind of see it. Where are we hitting it? We're still getting purple right there. Oh, there we go.
No, it's not in the shot now.
Is it in the shot? Not in the shot?
Now.
Not in the shot?
Micah's in the shot.
Okay.
Micah's in the shot. Micah's,
That's in the shot.
yeah.
Okay, now Michael's
Oh, look at you. Not in the shot? Not in the shot?
Not in the shot.
Okay, beautiful. Okay, awesome. I don't like that though. I don't want to do that. So let's take that away. Okay, I don't like it. So this is like when you can like really get crazy. Because at that point, like this could be fine. You could be like, I actually really like this and I want to shoot my whole interview that way.
You could be like, no.
And then you could be like, no, which is usually how I am. I like to play around a little bit. Okay, so one more thing we're gonna try. So take that apart. And then where's your light friend? There you are. Come over here. Okay, so inside this, yeah, there we go. Oh, beautiful. So there's also gold inside here. So a lot of people like the gold side. I only use the gold side if I'm shooting with tungsten or if it's like sunset or if someone has really gold tones. I actually generally don't really like these though. Not my thing. I don't like it. I like daylight. So let's hold this up. All right. Okay, now you guys are gonna be a unit. Ready? Okay, so I didn't really like that. It was like too much bounce, like a little intense, and like I don't want that. We wanna just do a little bit. So turn that light on. Oh my. You like that? It actually looks pretty sweet. Oh my God, you guys. Ridiculous. You guys should all do my job. Okay, all right. So let's play with this for a second. Let's talk about the intensity. So when you move a light closer to someone's face, it gets more intense. And as you move that light away from someone's face, it gets less intense. And then same thing as like taking this bounce and moving that in and out is also gonna change the intensity or like the softness of the light. So since this is a face here, your face, we want it to be like nice and soft because people have lovely faces and we want to be nice and soft. If you're trying to just like light something just because, sometimes you just like blast it with light and that's fine. But for faces, a lot of times you want to do something nice and gentle. So right now, this light is looking a little hot, right?
Yeah, it looks a little harsh on that one.
Yeah, a little much.
It's kind of like losing some
Yeah.
of the features.
So how about you take a step back towards that wall? Yep, and keep going a little bit more. A little bit more.
Okay. Now it's kind of like a hint of blue. I kind of like that.
You like that more?
Like the kind of hint of blue.
Just a hint? Oh, I sort of like that. You're starting to come around. Now we get a little bit of it on the face and the shoulders. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Hey, can someone hold this for me?
Yeah. Let's swap someone in.
Yeah, I'm tired of holding this.
That's heavy. I can't believe you held that so long.
Gotcha. I got you.
Oh, Pat. Muscles.
Wait, let me.
Oh, I sort of like that actually.
Yeah, you're kind of right.
There's not a.
Why don't you try sitting it down and then we could turn this like this and then we could walk a little bit that way. How about that? And then try walking it that way a little bit. All right, so one thing I want you to look at is look at the shoulders. So what are we seeing? Right now I'm seeing we are not getting much on this side.
We're not.
Do we like that though?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, all right, so let's stick with it. So how does this feel?
I kind of like
Oh, they love it. They love it. I hear it. Okay, so let's talk about the blue real quick. What I was saying about the intensity, let's practice a couple things here. So one thing is I'm gonna have you take one big step forward. I'm gonna have you take one big step back. We're not changing the light, we're just changing where these things are positioned. It's a pretty big difference, right?
Yeah.
But now we don't really see it. We kind of lost it.
Yeah. So I kind of want to go back. Zoe.
Okay,
Back.
okay. Split the difference.
there.
Okay, so now do you want to try taking the bounce and actually see if you can move the diffusion in a little bit and see if that changes anything?
Towards her.
Yeah. So see how that's softening that light? So we haven't done anything to the light. Our position's staying exactly the same, but we're changing the diffusion. Okay, that's beautiful. Do you guys feel sold on it or no?
I am sold on. I love.
Oh, it does kind of look like Blade Runner. Oh, guys, I don't know though. Now that I'm looking at this as the DP, I don't like the shot. I think we should change the shot. Oh no, I think we should change the shot. All right, let's 360. Yeah, we're gonna flip around. Since we've changed this whole shot, let's like really change the shot. So let's just try something completely. We're using all the same stuff. We're not gonna change the color of the lights. We're not gonna change the intensity of the lights. We're just gonna change the position. We're gonna change the camera position. Do you have her center frame right now?
Yeah.
Try to frame her on one of the 2/3 and a little bit off to the side.
Okay.
It's like right in between.
That's kind of cool. So let's say that I'm doing the interview. So I would ask you, like if I was producing this, what I always say to people is I always be like, hey, thanks so much for coming to the interview. So I'm just gonna have you take your knees and just square up a little bit towards me. Yep. Do you guys see how she's looking at me right now? And you see how her eyes are looking up? So keep looking at me, ready? Okay. And now I'm gonna come down to your eye level. Does it look more natural as opposed to like this? That drives me crazy when I look at interviews.
Oh my god.
You can always tell like if someone's standing and someone's sitting because then they're like looking up. Yeah, it's like super weird.
None of those.
Yeah, like I'll stand on the roof and be like, what do you think about fish? Okay, so far I really like this. I will say it's so dark. And it's really gonna hurt you later because you're gonna open this up in Premiere later and then you're gonna be like, that's the grainiest footage I've ever seen and it's so bad. So we're gonna actually have to add more light to this. Let's take this light and we're gonna walk it in all the way until we get to the point where you see it in the shot. Still nothing?
Still good. No, back up a little bit. There you go, right there.
Oh my God, look at that, that's better. I already like this. Okay, so the one thing we haven't really played with though is our moving light. Now we need to maybe do a little something different. So we had blue, and we're gonna stick with blue because that was the whole thing. I don't want the light colors to change. I just didn't like our shot anymore.
Could we bounce it down here? Like bounce the.
Well, I don't know, could we? Well, I don't know. I don't know. Oh my goodness. This little hole here goes with this thing. Oh, there we go. And then you just put his little jacket on. Oh, it's cold, it's snowing. Okay, beautiful. So what we're gonna try is we're gonna try to bounce the light. Okay, so you're gonna actually, instead of directing the light this way, you're gonna hit it off of this thing. All right, so take that light, turn it on. All right,
Okay.
all right, I need you guys, you're gonna take this light here, and you're gonna bounce it up against this thing. So you just turn it towards this. Okay, and you guys are gonna be like this little shimmy team. We're gonna like, we'll shimmy the lights, and we're gonna move around until Max says to stop. Okay, ready?
What direction do we shimmy it?
I don't know. We're gonna try different shimmying. All right, so let's shimmy this way. So let's like shimmy, and shimmy, and shimmy. Okay, I think we should shimmy in. So let's shimmy in a little. We're gonna shimmy on in. Okay, we're gonna keep shimmying. Keep on. I'm not seeing enough shimmy here. Come on, people. All right, a little more. So I will say that sometimes when you're shooting, there's these things that I like to call happy accidents. Here's the thing that's a happy accident about this frame, okay? So we didn't really talk a whole lot about composition, but there's different things with composition that when you're setting up the shot, you want to take into consideration. Like if you have, you know, a trash can in the background and you set up your shot and you're like, this is the composition, and then you're like, that trash can is ruining my shot. You want to kill the trash can. Okay, so here's the thing that's a happy accident about this composition. We have a strip going down, and she is perfectly framed in this doorway. Do you like that? That's like a cool thing, right? We didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
We literally just flipped the camera around.
Slide in it.
Yeah, right in it. We need to have our interview because this is the most important part of a documentary, right? It's like, okay. All right, so I'm gonna like save it for the interview. Okay, I need, who is my, come on. All right, so I need you to stand right here.
I love
Right
it.
here. Okay, ready? So here's how we're gonna do this. Okay. You're gonna say, hi, I'm Ash. You can say your name's Ash, but you can also use your real name. That's okay. Or you can say Ash.
Did he sit down though, since we're on?
Yeah.
Oh, great thought. Great thought. You should sit down. Yeah, get this man a chair. Okay. You're like big boss energy over here, and you're like, big boss energy, and you're like, guys, are the cameras rolling? Okay, so say it. Pretend. Ready?
The camera's rolling!
Are they?
It's not.
Okay, we'll roll the camera. Oh, someone's in the shot. So I am gonna mic. Ready? Okay, so here's how I would generally mic someone on a set. This is like for real. Like if we were on a set right now and I was actually gonna mic someone, this is for real how I would do it. So I'm gonna come over to you and I'm going to establish a rapport because you don't wanna be a weirdo and you wanna be like, hey, what's up? I am a weirdo. I know, I get it, but it's like, So, okay, hi, I'm Ash. I'm the audio person today, so I'm gonna just throw this mic on you real fast, quick and easy. This little tiny mic, I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna put a little bit through here. Generally, when you are micing someone with a lav for an interview, you want the lav to be sitting whichever direction their face is turned. So, in this situation, her face is going this way, so I'm gonna log on this side. So if you wanna take this jacket here, pull your hair back, and then pull that jacket, and then I'm just gonna clip it. We're gonna go, so good places like kind of right on the sternum. So pick up a lot of audio here, so I'm just gonna clip it right here on the jacket. See how I have a little loop here? So that's called strain relief or stress relief. That's just like in case somebody like yanks it, it doesn't just like out of the mic. So we're gonna pull that back around. Oh my God, look at that. So that's beautiful. That's how you would mic someone. You can just clip that to the back of your pants.
Okay.
So generally where you want that to sit is like right in the small of someone's back. A lot of times you'll have like a little, your pants will kind of come off a little bit. That's a great place to stick a mic because it'll just kind of like rest. So yeah, you got it. Yep, that's perfect. Okay. That mic looks okay, but it's actually hitting a little bit against your jacket. So we're actually just gonna take this. I'm gonna adjust this down a little bit. That looks much better to me. So our audio person is gonna listen to that mic. If we have any problems or anything, we might stop you during the interview, but I'll let you know. Okay. Back to you. So you asked if the cameras are rolling. The cameras are rolling, right?
Yep.
So we have established the lighting. We like it. The cameras are rolling. So now we have our moment. So it's always good to start with like, we're gonna get this interview started, and I just want you, if you could, for the cameras, if you could just say your name and spell it for our editors. Just look directly into the lens here. So don't actually do it yet. He has to say it. Okay, do it. There's no I just said.
I forgot.
What is your name and spell it? What is your name and spell it?
for an editor.
Hi, what's your name? Can you tell us your name? Can you look into the camera and spell it for us, please?
Okay. My name is Callie Johnson, C-A... C-A-L-I-J-O-H-N-S-O-N.
So I just want you to remember that we are actually recording this, so now we have proof forever that you forgot how to spell your name. So that's great. Okay, so the reason why we do that a lot of times is because, like, let's say this interview gets spicy. We're sitting here, we're talking about fish, it's getting crazy, and you're like, so remember that time that your company invested $15 million in a fish killing campaign? And then, so for real, you might say this because you're like a really good documentarian and you dug up all this dirt and you're like, you've been waiting to deliver this question with the cameras rolling. You delivered the question and she's like,
I'm like, oh.
Yeah, do it. Okay, now. Okay, now you're so mad. You're like, this interview is
How
over.
dare you?
Yeah, but give it, feel it.
Oh.
I felt that was emotional. Thank you. Okay, so you really felt that moment. So now she gets up and she dips. She's like, see ya, and she takes her mic, she like throws it down, and then leaves this room. So you got her saying on camera, you have rolled. She said her name. You have gotten her consent. It's on camera. In the industry, that is good as gold. Someone has given you their consent. We have it right there. They said it's okay to be filmed. I mean, you should say that. You should be like, are you okay being filmed? Because you want to make it clear for people. And that's for lots of reasons. Like, it's not just to protect you as a journalist, but it's also to protect them. Because if she doesn't say it, and then you go to do this, like, she has legal grounds to stand on that, like, she's like, hey, actually, I really didn't want you to do that. And I didn't give you consent, and you were just recording this like guerrilla style, and I didn't even know. Okay, ready? So let's fire off a couple of questions, and then we're gonna wrap the interview, and then I'll show you guys what we do at the end. Okay, ready? Prepared for this
First
interview.
question, why do you hate fish?
I don't hate fish.
Yes, you do.
Huh? I love fish. I just love how quiet they are. I would never kill any fish. I would never.
Directly.
I would never eat any dead fish. I love fish.
You want alive to watch you suffer.
What?
You said you would eat live fish.
I never said that.
Yeah, we got it on camera.
We did. We got that on camera. So let's end this interview. Okay, ready? So we're gonna say, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. We'll definitely be in contact with you about the final steps of the process, and then this is when you start to do like the, oh my god, we're friends, let's chit chat. I'm so excited, this piece is coming. I love fish so much, and my piece about fish is gonna be coming out in a couple months, and you can watch it and tell all your friends about it. Okay, ready? Now you go. Make it your own. Make it your own.
Thank you for coming here today and letting me ask you some questions. It was really great. We'll definitely be in contact in the future, and the footage that we have will be really useful in the future. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Oh. Wow. All right, so let's wrap it.